And then we go to, well, the master of this program, who we prepared the day with and who has been leading together with many others, your colleague Martijn, also at Rijkswaterstaat, and many international colleagues in Germany, but you will explain that later, to the DIWA project itself. I think it's an amazing job they did. It's such a good overview, and hopefully a lot of good things will come out of it. So Martijn, I'll give you the floor quickly because we're running out of time, but that's the way it is at these events.
About digitalization. So thanks Henk, thanks the Ministry of Transport, and also thanks Nick and Julia. This Inland Navigation Week is really the perfect timing for our project because we will end at the end of the year, but we really think we need an intermediate discussion and a workshop about digitalization with all the stakeholders. We started also our proposals in 2019 with the same DINA objectives, and the main question for us as fairway authorities is, well, what do we need to do as fairway authorities within the digitalization challenge and the digital transformation? So I'll speed up also because of the time, I'm not going to repeat this. So we started with a high-level vision. What can we do? We have here a DIWA high-level vision, and I underlined the most important things we work on. That's the digital transformation of IWT to make it sustainable and attractive, that it's seen as a transport mode. And we do that from a coordinated approach, a master plan, and from the view of fairway authorities, but of course we need to cooperate with other stakeholders. The participants in this project are France, Belgium, Germany, Austria and the Netherlands. Although I really need to say that all the results, all the reports we produce are most valuable for all the EU countries because it contains a lot of knowledge about digitalization and the several topics. I will get into that later on. We made up this picture of inland waterway transport, navigating the future. Well, Henk showed a temple with pillars. We have in the middle the hexagons with connected information services, smart shipping in the broad sense of the definition, and single modality, also the physical internet, that are the main drivers for digitalization, we think. We have the fairway with the ships. In the middle you see already a kind of an autonomous ship sailing with a lot of sensors. You see the sharing intentions, which will be later on the program today. And on top you see the fairway authorities with their logs, their traffic management sensors, and the Euros platform. There will be an explanation later on with the interconnection in this picture with other portals. So that's about the data sharing part. On the right hand side you see the other modalities, because transport is done by different modalities and single modalities. How does that fit together? And in the left bottom side, I think we're working towards digital twin, some kind of representation of the real world. Here I divided it into infrastructure, modalities, and the data. Well, the fairway authorities are responsible for part of this digital twin. And to get back to Nick's remark about selling data, we have a task from RIS that we provide data that's free of charge. Open data like electronic navigational charts, notice to skippers, water levels, because that's needed for safe navigation. So we don't ask money for that. But that means we have a part in the digital twin and in the digital infrastructure. And yeah, the ideal situation would also be that all those information is available before the transport, so during the sailing the skipper can focus on safe navigation and don't have to do anything on board anymore apart from safe sailing and navigation. So we use this picture a lot for discussions and interactions. This is how the project looks like, the different activities. We have 4 main activities. I will get back to that later on into the different topics. Not too much, because already we have produced over 1,000 pages, so I won't explain them all. But we will publish the reports on our project website. So we have the business development, the technological development, and the facilitating topic. And like I stated, we're in the middle of the project. We have finalizing activity 3 and 4, and at the moment we have already up to 100 groups of recommendations. I will show that later on in our intermediate roadmap, and at the moment we're fully working on the actual master plan, which starts with the vision, the roadmap, and the definition of the consequences. And getting back to the point I said, this is a brilliant timing in our project. We want to finalize all these documents in the next quarter, and then we'll have to consult all the different stakeholders. Somebody from DG Move stated it yesterday really clear. Take into account the end users at the end of the project. So the project ends at the end of this year, but I think this is a good moment to share it and to discuss it in the upcoming half a year. Getting a bit into the different reports. The reports are already published on our project's website. You can access them by the QR code also on our banner, or go directly to the website. We made up a report about smart shipping and what it means for us for smart infrastructure, the connections. We did, and all the reports, I need to say, we did a threefold approach. Description of the current states, what we see as the developments in the upcoming decade, and then come up with conclusions, recommendations. Then we have the port and terminal information services that are the hubs and where the transport is moved to another mode. I think an important stakeholder, and also the ports are important in the synchro model world. We looked into on the bottom into the different other modes, road, rail, and maritime, and we made up a list of all the services that are available in those modalities, and concluded that we're quite mature as IWT in accordance with the other modes. On a functional level, we have similar digital services in place, and we only came up with 7 data services in other modalities that can be of use for us as fairway authorities. Of course, we have risks. Will be discussed later on today, and we looked also towards single modality. Transport is done by economic operators, by business people, so it's mostly that the businesses has to look into the possibilities of single modalities. And if we look at the digital services, the open data digital services, we already provide all the needed services for IWT. So what are the fairways, what are the water levels, what are the waiting times, etc. But I think we still need to cooperate to make it more smooth and to make IWT more attractive. The next reports are about new technologies, the technological developments. We made an inventory of all the new technologies and how what is the roadmap towards the digital twin and the intermediate steps. We made an inventory of a long list of sensors that can help the fairway authorities to make the infrastructure smart, so when a lock is open, also useful for asset management purposes, and the sensors are also, of course, in use for smart ships. On the bottom we have the technology in other domains, and we really looked especially into the maritime domain here because it's quite similar to inland shipping. We came up with some interesting architectural frameworks like the nautical data link service, and also we noticed that for inland for autonomous shipping we have the maritime autonomous surface ships that has been working on a guideline, and that can be really useful also for smart shipping on inland waterway transport. And of course we have the S100 data definition that comes from the maritime world, and we also need to use that on our estuaria and our inland waterways that will be coming up in the next years. And on the right side, we see two complementary subjects about the IWT connectivity platform. So we looked also into Federated, Phoenix, the European data spaces, and how yours could fit into that. And we have looked into the information model, the current status, and how we can have a more advanced description of our infrastructure. These reports has been published since last week on the website. Apart from the technology and other transport domains will be published within a few weeks. It's work in progress, but you can look it up there. And if you have any questions or feedback, of course, contact us. The last facilitators, I would rather call it preconditions for digitalization. Standardization, most important, that we have a clear definition, and for interoperability, for computers to read out the data automatically, it's most important. Cybersecurity, we have a really extensive report with measures for the fairway authorities, but it can also be of use for service providers and for smart ships. We made up an overview of obligations and restrictions, especially on the smart shipping, which is of course the hot topic at the moment, and an advice of the measures that need to be taken, and final, but not as least, data quality. If people use our data or use commercial data, you really need to know what is the quality of the data for its purpose. We expect to publish the reports in the second quarter of this year, and that includes the master plan, which is available for feedback. Here we have our intermediate roadmap with, on the left side, a number of themes. And we ordered and made a grouping of the over 100 recommendations we have. So I start at the top. I think yours is the most important asset we have. So how can it be used as a connectivity platform in the European mobility data space? How can it serve as a data exchange platform for other purposes? We have the harmonization of the modalities. I think that's really worth discussion, for example, with the European Union and also for Alice. I think it's well, we know how IWT works as Fairway Authority. We don't know how digitalization works in cooperation with the other modalities. Well, we have seen some interesting things for maritime aviation, road and rail. Then I move down to the process and organization. We think an even better EU-wide cooperation and strengthening is needed. We already have the maintenance board for EURES, but also for reference data, for data quality. So we have a harmonized data quality within the EU, and the intermodal standardization is the most important. Beneath that, we have EURES. I think we still need to centralize it, so not previously 13 fairway information portals, but really use EURES to centralize data services, extend it and further develop it, and encourage the use. I still meet people, commercial companies in the Netherlands that are not aware of EURES. And I think it's really valuable assets. On the right side, we see the things we need to do anyway, and which are most important. So, cyber resilient organization, secure communications flow, the connections between smart infrastructure and smart shipping, new sensors that will be a continuous challenge for us. And on the bottom, to raise the data quality, because we see for smart shipping which is a more advanced use of data is needed. So also we need to raise the data quality and organize, I think, a feedback loop with economic operators, service providers, and skippers. So that was really a quick look into the results. Here the planning, like I said, we will publish the reports for activity 4 and 5 in the second quarter. And I really would like to have the discussion with the stakeholders. I will reach out to certain stakeholders. Sim, I will get back to you when we have the master plan, and Nick, of course, with the vision. And the CCNR, I think, and also within our own ministry, I think we need a consultation of the recommendation and if it fits into our national policy and how it can be used. So, thank you.
Martijn van Hengstum. So if you really want to know what's going on, digitalization in inland shipping, inland waterway, you can go to the DIBA website because you can find everything there. So you will use the next half year or 4 months to consult all the stakeholders on the roadmap, which is a suggestion, more or less.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So,
And they need to then decide if they want to implement it in the way that DIBA suggested it.
yeah, we will order all the recommendations which we think is meant for a certain stakeholder group, and then, well, hand over the list. Well, I think here some work needs to be done.
All right.